Once upon a time, in a small village surrounded by mountains, there lived a kind-hearted little girl named Little Red Riding Hood. Everyone in the village adored her, for she always wore a bright smile and was sincere and gentle to everyone. What made her stand out even more was the beautiful red cloak she always wore. This cloak was a gift from her grandmother, who had lovingly sewn it for her. Because of this, whether it was villagers or travelers passing by, they would say,
"Look, there goes Little Red Riding Hood."
Since childhood, Little Red Riding Hood was especially close to her grandmother. Though her grandmother lived deep in the forest, quite far from the village, Little Red Riding Hood often went to visit her and help with household chores. Sometimes they would take walks in the forest, where her grandmother would tell her old stories and teach her to recognize different plants and trees. Her grandmother was the person Little Red Riding Hood trusted the most, and her grandmother always felt proud of her granddaughter's kindness. One day, as Little Red Riding Hood's mother was busy at home, she suddenly realized that her grandmother hadn't visited the village in several days. Her mother guessed it was because her grandmother wasn't feeling well. She then said to Little Red Riding Hood,
"My dear, your grandmother lives far away in the forest, and she's all alone with no one to care for her. Today, I want you to go and visit her. Bring her some fresh apples, which are her favorite fruits. These will help her recover quickly. Remember, you must be careful on the way. Don't talk to strangers, especially when you're in the forest. And don't stray from the main path, as the forest is deep and it's easy to get lost."
Little Red Riding Hood nodded seriously, took the basket full of apples, and happily set off. The sun shone through the treetops, casting dappled light on the ground as birds sang from the branches, and the air was filled with the fresh scent of the forest. As Little Red Riding Hood walked along, she admired the beauty around her. She loved the forest and felt as if she were walking through a fairy tale. Along the path, vibrant flowers swayed in the breeze, their colors so captivating that Little Red Riding Hood couldn't resist stopping to pick a few, thinking they would delight her grandmother. As she was gathering flowers, a big gray wolf crept up behind her. The wolf had been wandering through the forest, searching for prey, when he spotted the little girl walking alone. His eyes gleamed with a cunning light.
"What a delicious-looking little girl. I must think of a clever way to eat both her and her grandmother."
The wolf put on a friendly face and slowly approached Little Red Riding Hood.
"Good morning, little girl."
The wolf said in a polite voice, smiling.
"Where are you headed so early by yourself?"
Little Red Riding Hood was a bit surprised to see a wolf blocking her path, but she didn't feel in danger. After all, the wolf's voice sounded so kind.
"Good morning, sir. I'm on my way to my grandmother's house. She lives on the other side of the forest, and I'm bringing her some fruits and flowers. Grandma hasn't been feeling well lately, and I'm sure she'll be very happy to see these."
The wolf squinted his eyes, pretending to be concerned.
"Oh, I see. Does your grandmother live far from here? Where exactly does she live? You're so brave walking all this way alone."
Without any suspicion, Little Red Riding Hood answered.
"Grandma lives deep in the forest, in a little cottage. It's not too far from here. If you follow this path and pass through the tall pine trees, you'll find it easily. There are beautiful flowers in front of her house."
The wolf listened carefully, secretly pleased with himself. His plan was forming in his mind. He then said to Little Red Riding Hood,
"Wow, You're such a wonderful girl. Not only do you take care of your grandmother, but you're so thoughtful too. Since you're bringing flowers to her, why not pick some even more beautiful ones? Look at these gorgeous flowers along the road. They've just bloomed today, and I'm sure your grandmother will be even happier to see them.
Little Red Riding Hood looked around and saw the colorful flowers swaying under the sunlight. She was mesmerized and thought,
The wolf is right. If I pick some more flowers, Grandma will be even happier.
so she happily nodded.
Thank you for the great suggestion. These flowers are indeed beautiful. I'll pick some to bring to Grandma.
The wolf, seeing that Little Red Riding Hood had stopped to pick flowers, grinned with satisfaction. He knew he had enough time to put his plan into action. He waved his paw and said,
I'll be off now, little girl. You take your time picking flowers, but be careful on the road.
Okay, sir. Thank you. You be safe too. Have a good journey.
Satisfied, the wolf turned and quickly made his way to Grandma's house. As he ran through the forest, he plotted his next move.
When I reach Grandma's house, I'll eat the old woman first, then disguise myself as her. When Little Red Riding Hood arrives, I'll gobble her up in one bite too. What a lucky day.
Meanwhile, Little Red Riding Hood hummed a little tune while she gathered flowers, completely unaware that she had been delayed in the forest for a long time. After picking a large bouquet, she suddenly remembered,
Oh, I must hurry, or Grandma will be worried.
She picked up her basket and continued walking toward Grandma's house. By the time she arrived, the sun had already started to set. She knocked gently on the door and called out,
Grandma, I'm here. It's me, Little Red Riding Hood. I brought you food and flowers. You'll love them.
Oh, my dear, come in. The door's not locked. I'm in bed, still feeling a bit weak.
The wolf, mimicking Grandma's voice, answered from inside. Though the voice sounded convincing, it was a little hoarse. Little Red Riding Hood pushed open the door and entered. The room was dim, and she saw her grandmother lying in bed, covered with a blanket, only her head showing. Little Red Riding Hood felt something was off and walked closer to the bed, studying Grandma carefully.
Grandma, your voice sounds strange, a bit hoarse.
Little Red Riding Hood curiously said,
Ah, my dear, I've caught a cold, and my throat hurts a little.
The wolf replied in a low voice, trying to sound gentle.
But Grandma, why are your ears so big?
Little Red Riding Hood asked, noticing something even stranger. The wolf, pretending to smile, flashed his sharp teeth and replied,
My dear, that's so I can hear you better.
And Grandma, why are your eyes so big? I never noticed them being so large before.
That's so I can see you more clearly, my dear.
Little Red Riding Hood was getting more and more suspicious. She stepped closer and nervously asked,
But Grandma, why are your teeth so big and sharp?
The wolf could no longer hold back. He grinned wickedly and growled.
That's so I can eat you better.
With that, the wolf leaped out of bed, baring his sharp teeth, and lunged at Little Red Riding Hood. She screamed and tried to back away, her heart pounding as she realized she had fallen into the wolf's trap. Just then, a brave hunter, passing by, heard the commotion from inside the house. He rushed in with his axe and struck down the wolf, saving Little Red Riding Hood just in time. In the end, Little Red Riding Hood was rescued, and she learned a valuable lesson from the terrifying experience. She thanked the hunter and her grandmother and vowed never again to trust strangers, especially in a dangerous place like the forest. This story conveys several important lessons through Little Red Riding Hood's experience, which are suitable for children to learn from. Do not trust strangers easily. Little Red Riding Hood trusted the wolf too easily when she met him in the forest, which led her into danger. This lesson teaches children not to talk to strangers, especially when they are alone without an adult. Follow rules and listen to parents' advice. Little Red Riding Hood's mother told her not to leave the path and not to talk to strangers, but she got distracted by picking flowers and ended up in danger. This teaches children that parents' advice and rules are meant to protect them, and they should follow them carefully. Stay alert, and don't be deceived by appearances. Little Red Riding Hood was distracted by the beautiful flowers and forgot her original task. This lesson tells children that even in front of something beautiful or tempting, they should stay vigilant and not let it divert their attention. Seek help when needed. When Little Red Riding Hood sensed something was wrong, if she had sought help earlier, she might have avoided danger. This lesson teaches children that if they feel unsafe or encounter a problem, they should seek help from an adult in time. Show kindness and care for others. Little Red Riding Hood set out to visit her sick grandmother, showing care and love. This lesson encourages children to learn to care for family and friends, and to be kind-hearted. I hope you enjoy the story tonight, little one. Good night and sweet dream.